Hey, everybody, it's Tracy Thomas, host of The Stacks, here with another bonus episode of The Stacks Unabridged for you. Today, I am joined by cultural critic, TV writer, journalist, and now debut novelist, Emily St. James, whose brand new book, Woodworking, is out now. Today, Emily and I talk about trans rights, trans representation, and anti-trans rhetoric in both pop culture and politics. Emily shares her thoughts on how we got here, where we're headed, and together we craft a trans pop culture canon from books to TV, film, and more. Okay, now it's time for my conversation with Emily St. James. All right, everybody, Stacks Unabridged. Here we are, bonus episode for March. I am really excited today because I am joined by a brand new novelist, but a tried and true cultural critic, pop culture writer, Emily St. James. Emily, welcome to the Stacks.
Hi, it's wonderful to be here.
I'm so happy to have you. I think let's start with your novel because I want to make sure we give your novel a little bit of time before we start digging into pop culture. It's called Woodworking.
Yes.
And why don't you tell people in about 30 seconds or so what the book is about?
Woodworking is about a trans woman who comes out to herself at the age of 35, but she lives in Mitchell, South Dakota, a town of 15,000 people. So the only other trans person she knows is a 17-year-old girl who's one of her high school students. It's about the unlikely friendship that sort of emerges from there, and then also how they both get roped into a local election for a state Senate seat. It takes place in the build-up to the 2016 election. So dramatic irony, dramatic irony, dramatic irony.
We love a literary convention.
Yeah.
And you're from South Dakota.
I am. I'm from South Dakota. I'm actually from a town called Armour, which is about 40 miles from Mitchell. If you set things in a town that small, people don't believe towns are that small. So
Armour's even smaller than Mitchell.
Armour's like 600 people now. It was about 800 when I was living there.
Wow.
My graduating class was 16 people.
Stop.
Yeah.
From high school, 16.
From high school, 16. And I know where all of them are now. I mean, not in a creepy way, just in the sense of
I'm tracking all of their locations.
But Mitchell was the nearest big town. And it did feel to me like I tried to come out as a child and it never quite worked because it was the 80s and 90s and it was a weird time to be trans. I mean, it's always a weird time to be trans, but especially then. And Mitchell was always like the closest big town. So I sort of had in the back of my head, like a trans kid might be able to find like somewhere to live there.
Right.
So like that was kind of where my mind went. Also, it has the Corn Palace, which is an enormous palace decorated with corn. Every year they change the murals, and like it's in the book like once, but it just felt too good to pass up.
You're like, I need this. I need something to anchor the place. The Corn Palace.
The disappointing thing is, if you ever go on the inside of it, it's just a basketball gym.
Wow. So it's not really a palace. Like Meghan Markle's not there.
It's palace shaped. There's no like corn. Yeah, there's no king and queen made of corn. It's just a gym.
Okay,
sadly.
we got to work on that. We need a moveon.org petition to like get us royalty in the Corn Palace or whatever.
Yeah. Once we've fixed this country, then we're going to fix the Corn Palace.
But maybe we're starting too big with like healthcare. Maybe we should start with small things like the Corn Palace and then like see like we did this. Now let's move up to protecting Social Security.
My toddler watches, this is not a new saying, this is from a lot of places, but my toddler watches this Ms. Rachel on YouTube. Okay. And she says all the time, you can do hard things. Oh, yeah. And that's us with the Corn Palace.
Yeah, that's Glennon Doyle. She really took You Can Do Hard Things and made it her whole personality. I think that's the name of her new book, actually.
Yeah, that is where I first heard it. And now I associate with Ms. Rachel because I have a 2-year-old.
Right.
So.
Yes. When you have small children, everything. I quote Bluey a lot. Like,
yes,
there's an episode of Bluey where the mom keeps telling like Bluey to run her own race. or maybe it's bingo. I can't remember which one. And I say that all the time to myself, to my adult friends, to my children. I'm like, look in the mirror. I'm like, Tracy, run your own race. Like, it's hard. That's a hard lesson to learn.
Yeah.
That's a hard one.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, I want to stick with the novel for a little bit. I want to know, because we talked about this a little bit off air, but also you're really well known for your TV writing. You used to do like tons of recaps of America's favorite shows, from like Big Bang Theory, Buffy, right? You did Buffy?
I never did Buffy. I wish that I had it. It was a very formative show for me.
Got it.
The ones people sort of remember me for most are Community, and Mad Men and Game of Thrones. But I recapped so many things. I recapped America's Next Great Restaurant, a show you
never heard of. Show I've never heard of.
Yeah.
I hope those recaps were getting a lot of clicks for you.
I had a great time. Yeah.
But then you write this novel. Fast forward. What's it like going from recapping someone else's creative output to creating your own output?
Sure. Yeah. I had I started work on this book in the fall of 2020.
Okay.
And at that point, my TV criticism career obviously wasn't over. I do still occasionally write it. I'm in a weird place now where I write for television now. So
Yellow Jackets, right?
Yes. Yellow Jackets.
Creepy.
So it makes it complicated to critique TV, but there are times when I still do it for various reasons. But in 2020, my criticism career had sort of largely given way to writing features, longer pieces, and that was just sort of a nice gap in which to start to think about this. When I started writing TV criticism, I came at it from the perspective of someone who wanted to be a TV writer.
Okay.
And I moved out to LA and was writing scripts, and they weren't very good yet because I was 23, 24. And they just weren't good, because at that age, stuff is often, unless you're a preternatural wunderkind,
right.
It's, but people would tell me they had a lot of voice or whatever. And so I started a blog, because at that time, blogging was a way to get to know people. And I started a blog that was going to be about my adventures in TV writing. And I started writing about the TV shows I was watching. I just started doing very brief episodic recaps, and that became a side quest that went on for 15-ish years. And what I realized is that one of the reasons that I ended up having real success at it and then at TV journalism is a lot of the people who read bad reviews I wrote still were respectful of, oh, I get where you're coming from, or, oh, I agree with you, this didn't quite match up, because I was not coming at it from a place of I was most interested in critique. I was most interested in how does this apply to my own writing?
Oh, interesting.
And so I kind of had to teach myself to write criticism and journalism. I didn't have to teach myself to write fiction. And obviously everyone has to learn how to write.
Sure.
But my first language really was writing fiction, writing scripts. And so when I wrote down to write this novel, I certainly had some very basic principles of novel writing I had to really internalize.
Yeah.
But it was, I don't want to say it was easy, because it wasn't, but it felt natural to me.
Yeah.
In a way that the criticism and journalism never did, where I had to slip into I talk about this fairly frequently when people ask me if I write to music, and I could never write criticism or journalism to music.
Okay.
And I tend to write first drafts of novels and scripts to just endless pop music.
Okay, specifically give us some artists that you're loving, that you're writing to.
Woodworking. Well, woodworking. Really to start. I wanted two very different artists, different women artists to get into the brain space.
Yeah.
So initial draft. I wrote most of Erica to Taylor Swift. And then I wrote most of Abigail to Mitski. And, there was cross-pollination and things were filtering in. I am very much musical polyglots.
Okay.
It has, I have a list of 10,000 songs on Spotify, and I just shuffle it.
Okay.
And then when I hit one, Lately, it's been the Elton John song "Better Off Dead."
Okay,
and I listen to it over and over.
Yes.
But a couple weeks ago, it was Doechie's "Denial Is a River."
Sure.
Just like hit me just the right way.
Yeah.
So, and it's never like a planned thing. It's just like a thing that like, this is a vibe that I need to catch.
Totally. You know? I do this all the time. And it's like, some vibes are like annual. Like I'll all of a sudden be like, oh my God, it's time for the Chicks Ready to Run album. Like it's, I feel it in my bones. That's a question that I ask so many writers about how they write. So I want to ask you the rest of my version of that question, which is how do you write? How often? Obviously, you talked about music or no, but the important part of my question is snacks and beverages, writing snacks and beverages.
I tend to write with coffee.
Okay. How do you take your coffee?
I take coffee with a little milk. I don't take any sugar or anything like that. I tend to take very black coffee or very black coffee with just like a couple drips of non-fat milk, or I do like an Americano if I'm out. Okay. And I actually write in coffee shops a lot. That is always a roll of the dice, because you might get to a place and it might be too loud that day or too busy that day. But it does tend to help keep me from getting distracted. Mm-hmm. But I tend to write in the afternoons, and then often I will write late at night. But not it doesn't always happen, because I have a toddler and will sometimes need to like go to bed.
Yeah, sometimes you need to sleep unfortunately. What a nightmare.
Yeah, but my ideal writing day is I'm writing from like 1 to 5 and 10 p.m. to 2 a.m.
Oh my gosh. To 2 a.m., Emily.
I grew up writing into the middle of the night for various trauma-related reasons. And it's just like, it is still the time when I'm most creative.
Oh my gosh.
And still the time when I'm like, have the best luck at just focus. I've taught myself to write in afternoons. It really was a struggle. But you talk about the AV Club days. I was often working. I would start work at like 9 and work until like 6 in the morning.
Wow.
That was after watching everything. And that was not sustainable. But I was like 26.
Yeah.
So.
I've always been a morning person. So for me, like these hours, I mean, I have to take my kids to school, which really fucks up my flow. But if it were up to me, I would get up at 6 a.m. and work until like noon, and then do like stupid email stuff from noon to 2 and be done. Like usually after 2, I'm pretty useless. I can still interview after 2, but any like writing or like real thinking, no thanks. And that's 2 p.m. till the next day at 5 a.m. You know what I mean? Like I do not get that second win from 10 to 2. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's I honestly I don't know why, outside of just like when I was a teen, I used to write all my papers at that time.
Well, one of the things that I love about doing this podcast is I get to ask all these different writers of various degrees in their career, written 10 books, written their first book, has been writing forever, just picked up writing, whatever, won a Pulitzer. And it's like that answer to that question, there's no pattern. Like some people are like you. There's some people, like someone was telling me they do the thing where they wake up in the middle of the night for a few hours, like that, like 2 chunks of sleep thing.
Yeah.
And I'd never even heard of that. Like, and I'm just so fascinated with the idea of like, there is truly no correct way to be creative. It's just so antithetical to like other careers where there is a correct way to do things. And so that's what I love about asking that question. All right, that is the end of this bonus teaser. If you were liking what you were hearing, you can listen to the entire episode by going to either patreon.com/thestacks and joining the Stacks Pack, getting access to the Discord, being able to participate in our virtual book club, or you can go to tracythomas.substack.com and subscribe to Unstacked, where you're going to get my writing about books, pop culture. You're going to get other exclusive author interviews, and of course, these bonus episodes. So go to one of those 2 places, join us, get to hear the rest of this episode, and support the work that I do by being a part of these wonderful communities. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the Stacks.